If it's happening in professional wrestling, we're breaking it down. The matches, the moments, the rumors, and yes, even the hot takes. This is Pro Wrestling Focus. No nonsense, no wasted motion, just pure wrestling talk. Now here's your host, Cody Springer.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pro Wrestling Focus. We've got a busy week ahead. Today's the usual show, but then we're diving head first into WrestleMania predictions. Because it's a 2-night event, and I gotta treat it like 2 separate shows. Night 1 predictions drop on Friday, Night 2 predictions hit on Saturday. So yeah, you're getting 3 shows from me this week. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about what went down on SmackDown this past Friday. I want to talk about something I wasn't expecting to be as compelling as it was. The confrontation between Randy Orton and Nick Aldis on SmackDown. Now, yeah, technically this segment involved Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and LA Knight. But I want to hone in on Orton and Aldis specifically because this is where the story was. So Nick Aldis is in the ring, being all business as usual. He's talking about viral moments from last week's SmackDown, and there were plenty of them. But he zones in on one moment in particular. Randy Orton dropping him with an RKO. And you could tell from the minute Aldis opened his mouth, he was ticked off, but trying to keep it professional. He calls out Orton, and the crowd, as always, starts singing that iconic theme. You know the vibes. Orton gets in the ring, and you can just feel the tension. He looks at Aldis and straight up says, "You can't tell me you didn't expect to get hit with an RKO." And honestly, he's not wrong. Orton paid in advance for an RKO last year. Orton literally brought out the receipts. But what's important here is Orton's motivation. He's not just out here for revenge or chaos. He's out here because he doesn't have a match at WrestleMania 41. That's crazy, right? 20 WrestleManias he's been a part of. 20. That's a hell of a milestone for any superstar. Then we got that little hint of what could be coming. Orton says maybe Aldis can take the suit off for a night and get in the ring. Then Aldis fires back and says it ain't about the money. It's about respect. He tells Orton that he busted his ass for 20 years just to get to WWE. And you know what? He is right. Nick Aldis has been overlooked for years. He was putting in the work in the NWA, TNA, everywhere. Being a world champion, cutting great promos, having solid matches. And it's only now, in a non-wrestling role, that he's finally in WWE. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets interesting. Aldis may be wearing a suit, but the guy can still probably go. He's only 38. That's younger than AJ Styles, LA Knight, even Damian Priest. You're telling me this man can't get in the ring and go blow for blow with Randy Orton? Come on. And when Orton says, "You have my respect, but if you don't give me a match, I can't promise I'll apologize to Mickie James for what happens." That's cold. That's vintage Viper, but it also plants the seeds for something bigger. I'm telling you right now, WWE is setting the stage for Orton versus Aldis at WrestleMania 41. Maybe it gets announced this week on the Go Home SmackDown. Maybe it's a last-minute surprise. But I think Aldis is going to make the match. It's too perfect of a setup not to. And if he delivers in the ring, who knows? Maybe this is the beginning of an in-ring return for Aldis. Now, I might be jumping the gun a little. Maybe this is a one-off, but if they tear it down at WrestleMania, WWE's going to have no choice but to let Aldis lace up the boots again. And I'm all for it. Give me Orton versus Aldis in Vegas. Give me the drama, give me the storytelling, and give me two guys slugging it out with respect, pride on the line. Let's see what happens next week. But something tells me Orton's going to get the match. And if he does, watch out. We could be seeing the rebirth of Nick Aldis right before our eyes. All right, let's get into another piece of the WrestleMania build that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, and honestly, I'm guilty of it too. I should have been talking about this weeks ago, but hey, we're here now, talking about Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. Now look, this feud has been layered. I mean, really layered. This isn't just two guys fighting because they don't like each other. This is a full year of tension, receipts, and revenge that's finally boiling over. It started all the way back at WrestleMania 40 when Drew finally beat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then bam, Damian Priest cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase and snatches the title out of Drew's hands minutes later. Talk about getting your moment ripped away. Since that night, Priest has basically been living rent-free in Drew McIntyre's head. And Drew has made sure to return the favor every chance he gets. These two have clashed in tag matches, backstage brawls, and then boom, at Elimination Chamber, Priest eliminates Drew first. That was Drew's last shot to get to WrestleMania with a title opportunity, and Priest shut the door on him. So what does Drew do? He gets petty, gets vindictive, he gets strategic. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, Drew gets slammed onto a windshield by Priest. Next thing we know, Drew's showing up on TV in an eye patch, claiming he's got glass in his eye. And listen, I knew Drew didn't have glass in his eye. As you know, this is the version of Drew who's a master manipulator. He plays the victim while he's quietly plotting your downfall. He's bitter, he's calculating, and he doesn't care who he has to step on to get what he wants. Then we get to SmackDown this past week, and man, this was a hell of a segment. Drew goes into full pirate mode with the eye patch and beats down Priest to the point he has to be helped to the back, and then cuts this cold, eerie promo where he's like, "Are we seeing clearly now?" And then he starts running down Priest, saying he only benefited when Drew got screwed, and now it's one-on-one with one eye. Priest is finally exposed. Drew calls himself a man for agreeing to a Sin City street fight with one eye. But then he drops the mic, literally and figuratively, by taking off the eye patch and saying he's 100% cleared, which means Damian Priest is 100% screwed at WrestleMania. That's when Priest loses it. He storms back to the ring, fights through security, and brawls with Drew. Priest slams Drew into the steps, Drew claws at Priest's eyes, and then Drew absolutely wrecks him with a future shock DDT on the steps. And to top it off, Drew rips the necklace off of Priest's neck and stands tall like a man who just took a trophy off the body of a fallen enemy. And here's where I want to make a little comparison, because this is mirroring Drew's feud with CM Punk from last year. Remember when Drew took Punk's bracelet? It was the same thing. Drew takes something symbolic, something that matters, and uses it as a weapon in the mind games. He's doing the exact same thing here with Priest's necklace. This isn't just physical domination. This is psychological warfare. And you can tell this isn't just about WrestleMania. It's about redemption. It's about reclaiming the moment that was stolen from Drew a year ago. And for Priest, it's about proving he's not a fluke. Not just a guy who cashed in at the right place at the right time. It's about showing he deserves to be in that spot. I can't wait to see what they do this week on the final SmackDown before WrestleMania, because there's still one more chapter left in this war, and honestly, this could end up being one of the sleeper hits of the entire card. The story's there, the tension's there, and both guys have something to prove. You give Drew and Priest 20 minutes in a street fight, that's going to be violent, that's going to be dramatic, and that's going to be a must-see. Alright, let's switch it up a little bit. I don't usually spend a lot of time on the actual matches. My focus is typically on storylines, character development promos, the meat and potatoes of the show. But this one deserves some love. I want to talk about the women's tag team gauntlet match from SmackDown. This is honestly a damn good match. Really solid in-ring work for every team involved. And that's not something you always get in these multi-team gauntlet formats. We had Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, yes, the current women's Intercontinental Champion and the former women's champion, teaming up to take on 5 teams. They ran through Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, Maxine Dupree and Natalya, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, B-Fab and Mi Chin, and finally Alba Fire and Piper Niven, repping Chelsea Green's secret Hervis. Lyra and Bayley went the distance, and they outlasted everyone. And you know what? They didn't just survive, they thrived. They actually worked really well together. There was this real synergy between the two of them. They saved each other from near falls, they had solid tandem offense, and it wasn't just thrown together like some of these tag teams feel. They told a story in that ring. I wouldn't mind if Bayley and Lyra stuck together as a team for a while. They've got something. But here's the catch. Lyra's the women's Intercontinental Champion. Which makes me think this whole partnership might be short-lived. Let's talk about Lyra for a second. She catches some heat online, people calling her a boring champion, saying she's not charismatic, she's not connecting, but I disagree. I think she's a great champion, she's tough, she's athletic, and she's proving herself. They're going to WrestleMania now to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And I'll be real with you, I don't see Lyra and Bayley winning. I think they put up a great fight, maybe even come close, but Liv and Raquel retain. And that's when things get interesting. Remember Raw last week? Bayley came up short in her title match against Lyra. After the match, Lyra extended her hand for a show of respect, and Bayley smacked it away, only to give her a hug a second later. That little hesitation, that wasn't nothing. That was a seed. That was a signal that we might be seeing a Bayley heel turn. And honestly, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I love Bayley. She's one of the best that the WWE Women's Division has. But on the other hand, her last heel run with Damage Control, not it. It didn't hit, it didn't evolve, it overstayed its welcome, and I don't think the crowd ever really fully bought into it. So turning her heel again, especially so soon after the whole Damage Control thing fell apart, I don't know. I think it might be too soon. Let that simmer a bit. But I get it. If Lyra and Bayley fail to win at WrestleMania and Bayley can't get it done in singles or tag competition, she might just snap. She might see Lyra as the weak link, or maybe she's jealous that Lyra's holding gold and she's not. It's a classic setup. If they go down that route, it could work. If they give Bayley a fresh, motivated direction and don't rehash the same damage control nonsense. So yeah, this match wasn't just a match. It was a piece of the puzzle, a piece of a bigger story. And that's why I'm giving it time on the show. Bayley and Lyra impressed. The tag division got some shine, and we're planting seeds for what could be a major post-WrestleMania feud between two top-tier women stars. Let's see how this one plays out. Let's talk about AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross from Raw and the Logan Paul segment that followed. The match was strong. Kross is someone I think people still sleep on. He's got the look, the presence, and he carries himself like a serious threat in that ring. Him and AJ worked well together, good chemistry, hard-hitting exchanges, and a clean finish that still kept Kross looking solid. AJ gets the win, which makes sense heading into WrestleMania. Then came Logan Paul. He walks out, does a self-promo with a highlight reel, which, yeah, it fits the character. Logan Paul, he understands this business better than what people give him credit for. He knows how to get heat and how to build a moment. But let's talk about that KO punch. I'm just going to say it. I don't buy it. I get the whole titanium screw story, but it just doesn't land the way they want it to. It feels a little forced. I'm not saying that Logan Paul couldn't knock someone out in a real situation, but when you put it on screen, it doesn't have the same impact as someone like Big Show's knockout punch used to. That felt believable. This just feels off. Not terrible, but it doesn't hit the way it should. Now, I will give him credit on the pulverizer. That move actually looks good. It's clean, it's flashy, it fits him. I've got no issue with that being his finish. Overall, I think the build to this match has been decent, nothing too crazy, but it's done when it needs to do. AJ's not falling for Logan's antics, and Logan's doing everything he can to push AJ's buttons. They set the table for a solid match at Mania. I'm holding off on predictions for now. You'll get that on the WrestleMania Predictions podcast, but I'll say this. Logan's got a big opportunity here. Let's see if he can deliver when the lights are brightest. Let's talk about that final segment from Raw. Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. This wasn't just good TV. This was premium storytelling. Layered, nuanced, peak pro wrestling drama. Starts off simple. Paul Heyman's waiting for Roman Reigns. CM Punk sits down next to him, puts an arm around him, and calls himself a real friend. Feels like he's trying to get inside Heyman's head, and Roman knows it. Roman's SUV pulls up, he sees them sitting together, and walks off. It really feels like we're watching some twisted love triangle play out. Roman's being the jealous ex, Heyman caught in the middle, and Punk playing the new guy who's saying all the right things. You almost expect Roman to ask, "Is this your new man, Paul?" Oh, shoot. But then we get to the ring. Roman stands tall. Heyman tries to hand over the mic like he always does, but Roman blows right past him, grabs his own. That's saying something right there. Paul Heyman's always given Roman the mic. But then Roman, hits his trademark line. He says, "Sacramento, acknowledge me." But the mood shifts fast. Roman gets serious. He asks, "How could you betray me?" And Heyman, nervous, maybe for the first time in years, says it wasn't betrayal. It was just a favor he owed. But Roman ain't buying it. Roman lays it out. "I don't do favors. I take what I want." He reminds Heyman that he didn't ask for help at War Games, so why is he covering the debt? That's when Seth Rollins' music hits, and he brings the fire. Rollins says that he is going to do what is best for business. And if that means taking out both Roman and Punk, so be it. The best for business line is no throwaway either. And that goes back to John Cena and The Rock. John Cena selling his soul to The Rock. The moments of compromise and betrayal. And that's a potential rabbit hole for later to talk about. But back to this. Seth calls it out plain and simple. Favors are a choice. Then he twists the knife. Rollins says he spared Heyman last week. That was his choice, just like Heyman has chosen Punk. He calls Heyman a scumbag, says there's no honor there, and tells Roman to stop pretending that this is all accidental. Heyman didn't repay a debt. He made a decision, and now Roman has to face it. And Roman does. He turns to Heyman and says he's right. Then he attacks Seth, shoulder first into the ring post. Heyman's thrilled. He thinks things are back to normal. He yells, "I acknowledge you, my tribal chief." But Reigns doesn't want it. He shoves Heyman to the ground. Then Punk runs out, clotheslines Roman out of the ring, checks on Heyman, and then boom, Roman spears Punk in half. It's chaos. And Seth Rollins brings it full circle. He grabs a chair and places it on Roman's back. Just like he did when the Shield ended. And he hits the stomp on both Roman and Punk. The message couldn't be clearer. Seth Rollins is going to haunt Roman Reigns forever. That chair shot 10 years ago, Roman never got over it. And now he's reliving the trauma again at the worst possible time. WrestleMania is coming. This story isn't about gold. It's not about championships. It's about pride, loyalty, history, and betrayal. This is why we watch. This is why we care. This is the kind of segment you remember years from now. One of the best closing Raw angles in recent memory. Cinema at its finest.
It's time to dive into the latest news and rumors from around the pro wrestling industry. Some of it's fact, some of it's speculation, but we'll break it all down and separate what's real from what's just making headlines. Remember, if it's not confirmed, it's just a rumor. But that won't stop us from talking about it.
All right, let's talk about Mariah May and the rumors swirling that she may be headed to WWE sooner rather than later. This story has been heating up thanks to some recent reporting from Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. According to Meltzer, WWE already knows she wants to be there, and people in AEW seem to believe she's heading out when her deal is up. The timeline? Possibly as early as this summer if she signed a shorter deal, or more likely November if it's a full 2-year contract. Now, what's interesting is that Tony Khan tends to take talent off TV once it's clear they're leaving, and Mariah being left out of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament and other current angles, that might be smoke to the fire. She hasn't confirmed anything, but let's be honest. When a talent posts a cryptic quote like, "You can't make the wrong decision because every decision leads you to where you're supposed to be," yeah, she's not exactly killing the rumors either. So let me give you my take. Mariah May in WWE? I say yes. Do it. She's got the look, the presence, and the mic skills to make it. Her work in AEW has been solid, and that feud with Toni Storm, that was intense, brutal. It showed that she's got that grit, that toughness that a lot of people say the women's division needs more of, and she wants this. Her dream has reportedly always been WWE. I think if she makes the jump, NXT is where she starts, and honestly, that's perfect. NXT is where she can tighten up the fundamentals, especially learning to slow down and work the WWE style. Because let's call it what it is, AEW matches can be wild. Sometimes sometimes with them it's just spot fest with no rhyme or reason. It's entertaining in the moment, but it doesn't always tell a story. That's what WWE does better than anyone else. Storytelling within the match. And here's what could be considered my controversial opinion. Going to WWE should still be the dream. I know that's going to ruffle feathers in some circles, but WWE is the biggest stage in the world. AEW, TNA, New Japan, all great, but they're steps. For most wrestlers, they're stepping stones on the path to WWE. There's a reason why Cody Rhodes went back, why Jade Cargill left, why even someone like Brian Pillman Jr. took the NXT route. It's where the legacy is made. Mariah May making the jump would not only be smart, but it would be a glow-up. And if WWE is smart, they'll use her right. Build her up through NXT, and maybe we're looking at a future women's champion in the making. I think we'll find out more in the coming months. If she disappears completely from AEW TV this summer, that's your sign. All right, this isn't really a news item or rumor, and I don't want this to be taken as rumor or anything like that. But this isn't something that I don't think that a lot of people are really concerned about right now or thinking about, and it's the next wave of NXT call-ups that we might see once WrestleMania wraps up and we get to the draft. And WWE always likes to hit the reset button from time to time. But here's my short list of talent who I think are either main roster ready or being groomed for a big move very soon. We'll start off with the men. Talk about Trick Williams here first. Let's not dance around it. Trick is a star. Charisma, crowd connection, presence. He checks every box. He's already over, and he hasn't even been on the main roster yet. You put this guy on Raw or SmackDown and give him a hot feud out the gate, he'll run with it. I wouldn't be shocked if they rocketed him up the card within a year. My next guy here is Obafemi. WWE loves their monsters, and Obafemi is that guy. They've been all in on him from day one. His aura is undeniable. He's not just a powerhouse. He carries himself like a champion. I could see him getting a strong debut when he gets called up, maybe even in a Bobby Lashley-esque type of role, especially if they want to rebuild that kind of dominant energy on either brand. And then up next, I have Ridge Holland. This one's interesting. Ridge has been rebuilding himself in NXT after a rough main roster stint, and you can tell he's regained his confidence. His promos have improved, he's cleaned up his in-ring work, and honestly, he looks more comfortable in his skin. I think it's time for a redemption arc on the main roster. Maybe as a tough veteran with a chip on his shoulder. Alright, now the women here. I got Jordynne Grace. And technically she's not really full-time in NXT. But from everything I've heard, her appearances there are limited and she's getting main roster money already. That tells you all you need to know. She's not being treated like a developmental talent. She's being positioned like a big deal. How she carries herself, she's ready. Plug her right into the women's division and let her go. And from everything I've heard, that her run in NXT was just short term, and she is getting paid to, she's on the main roster. Up next here is Roxanne Perez. I don't even know if we should still consider her NXT talent at this point. She's done everything there is to do down there. She's polished, confident, and a future cornerstone of the women's division. And then last but not least, we have Cora Jade. She's another one who just feels main roster ready. There's still gas in the tank for her NXT run, sure, but when you look at her presentation, her character work, and how she connects with the crowd, she's already at that level. I love the idea of her and Roxanne coming up together, maybe doing a short run as a tag team before imploding and giving us a full-blown feud on a bigger stage. That's good long-term booking right there. So let's talk about the possibility of Tom Brady, yes, the Tom Brady, appearing at WrestleMania 41. The NFL legend was asked by Fox News Digital if he planned to be at the event, and his response was interesting. He didn't say yes, but he also didn't say no. His exact quote was, "I may be there, but it's amazing what's going on there, and it's amazing what's happening with WWE and all the different things surrounding that." Now let's unpack that for a second. Since retiring from the NFL in 2023, Brady's been keeping himself pretty busy. He's a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, he's calling games for Fox, and of course, WrestleMania 41 is happening in Vegas, so the stars kind of align, right? But here's the question. If Brady does show up, what's he exactly going to do? Because let's be honest here, this isn't Lawrence Taylor stepping into the ring in the 90s or Rob Gronkowski diving off platforms. Tom Brady isn't exactly known for being flashy or physical outside of the gridiron. He's not built like a guy who's going to take a bump or throw a clothesline. I mean, the man spent 20 plus years avoiding contact like his life depended on it. And Pat McAfee, that guy's a natural for pro wrestling. Brady, not so much. So my guess is this. If he's there, it's probably going to be a quick crowd pop moment. He's sitting front row. They show him on camera. The announcers go crazy, hyping him up. Maybe they do a brief backstage cameo, have him shake hands with Cody Rhodes or LA Knight. Something like that. Maybe. But anyone expecting Tom Brady to get involved physically, let's not hold our breath. It's cool from a publicity standpoint, no doubt. It brings in some mainstream sports coverage, gets some crossover buzz going, but I don't think this is anything to be too excited about, storyline-wise. It's more of a look who's in the building kind of moment than a real WrestleMania storyline piece. And that's totally fine. Not every celebrity has to get involved. Sometimes it's enough to just have someone like Brady in the crowd. All right, let's talk about Triple H's recent comments that set the internet on fire, ironically. He sat down and pretty much said what a lot of us have been thinking for a long time. Let me play this clip for y'all first. This is from the Flagrant podcast, and this is what Triple H said.
The internet's not real life, right? And the bitching and the fucking complaining that is on there is not real life. Like you could read the internet and it'll sound like this thing is dead. It's not, and I'll use Cody as the example. Cody's already jumped the shark. He's dead as a babyface. He's like, really? Because I don't know. I'm in an arena with 10,000, 15,000 people every night going ape shit for me, selling the most merchandise. He's like, yeah, like, but whatever you want to say on the internet.
Right,
That's the golden rule. So the beautiful thing for our business, unlike a movie or a TV show or even a book or anything else, is like we have a focus group.
Every single night.
You go out.
This is stand-up too.
You go up and you do stand-up, right? Yeah. Like you do your stand-up for a year before you do the TV special or whatever a lot of times, right? Because you're trying out all the shit and you're seeing what works and what doesn't. Yeah. If you're terrible at your job, you just do it the way you want to do it. It bombs. Yeah. If you're good at your job, you tweak things, you change things, make it seem fresh still all the time, but you're shifting along the way until you get to where it's just right, and then you go put it out there, right? As we begin to tell these stories, this is working, this is not working. And whether people are bitching online or the reaction of people live
is what you can trust.
Right?
Right.
Jey Uso's terrible. It's never going to, what are they doing?
They're yeeting.
Dude, they're yeeting. Again, merch, reaction in the crowd, everything he does. Like, it's just opinion of a few people.
So if a story piece bombs, you guys can get back and be like, all right, let's just pivot, and then we can save it.
Hey, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Man, they didn't take that, or they didn't react to that, or that didn't click the way we thought it was gonna.
Now listen, that's the kind of blunt, no nonsense truth I love to hear, and you know what? I agree with every single word of it. Triple H isn't saying fans can't have opinions. He's saying let's stop pretending a handful of people making noise on the internet equals the pulse of the entire fan base. Because guess what? It doesn't. The internet wrestling community, or the IWC as we've called it for years, lives in a bubble. And sometimes that bubble is completely detached from what's actually happening in front of a live crowd. He brings up Cody Rhodes, people online saying he's dead as a babyface, that he's jumped the shark. Are you kidding me? Cody gets one of the loudest pops every single week. He's moving a lot of merch. He's getting standing ovations. But because a few folks on X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it this week decided it's cool to say Cody's stale, suddenly that's supposed to be gospel? No, man. Miss me with that. Same thing with Jey Uso. People online were whining when he got pushed, saying he was cringe, overrated, a tag team guy. But you watch that live crowd, you see that Yeet shirt flying off the racks. You hear that pop when he hits the ring. That's real. That's real life. And that's the whole point Triple H is making. The internet's not real life. It's not reflective of the entire WWE audience. If WWE booked the shows based strictly on what people were saying online, titles would be changing hands every single week. Pushes would get killed before they even started, and no one would get the chance to build momentum. Look, I'm not saying constructive criticism is bad. There's absolutely a place for it. There are legitimate things fans bring up online that should be addressed. But there's a big difference between actual critique and just piling on someone because it's trendy to hate them. We've seen it with Roman Reigns, we've seen it with Charlotte Flair, we've seen it with Seth Rollins. Hell, we've seen it with Becky Lynch in the past. You get too popular for too long and the internet decides you're boring now. Doesn't matter if you're still putting on banners every week, they'll turn on you just to say they were first. And I gotta be real, I'm not listening to a bunch of 20-somethings on X or Instagram acting like they know better than the company that's literally selling out stadiums. A tweet isn't the same thing as a crowd pop. A viral meme isn't the same thing as moving merch. You can't build your show around what's trending for 30 seconds. That's why I respect what Triple H said so much, because he's drawing the line and saying, hey, we're going to listen to the people in the arena first. Not bots, not trolls, not armchair bookers who's never popped a crowd in their life. The people who show up, buy tickets, wear the merch, and lose their minds when their favorite star comes out, that's the real feedback loop. So yeah, internet feedback can be helpful, but it's not the pro wrestling Bible. It definitely ain't the only voice that matters. And that's something more people, especially in the IWC, need to hear. Alright guys, time to wrap it all up in a bow. I'll be back Friday with my predictions for WrestleMania 41, Night 1, and then again on Saturday for Night 2. Both podcasts will drop around midnight, so you'll have plenty of time to listen before the big show. When WrestleMania arrives, just enjoy the ride. I've learned over the years not to take everything so personally. Doesn't mean I won't be annoyed by something or that everything will make perfect sense. But I won't gloss over anything either. Let's just enjoy the moments. WrestleMania only comes once a year, and this is our Super Bowl. It's almost here. Let's soak it all in. Alright guys, this is very late. But, yeah, so I was done, right? I was done recording the show, right? And then Drew McIntyre came up with this video, just uploaded it not too long ago, with some WrestleMania do's and don'ts, and I think this is so perfect. So I'm going to include it on my show, and I'm just going to leave you guys with this. This is Drew McIntyre's do's and don'ts, and warning, explicit language is going to be used, and to be honest, I think, this is what every wrestling fan that's going to be in Vegas this weekend needs to hear. So if you get offended, then, you're probably one of those fans that he's talking about. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania do's and don'ts.
What's happening, everybody? It's here. I don't know how it's here already, but it's WrestleMania week, the most exciting time of the year, and pro wrestling is on fire. We're in a golden age beyond golden age, and the whole industry is descending on Vegas. The world's descending on Vegas. The eyes of the world are on WWE. I'm worried about you guys. I'm concerned you're going to fuck it up. So I've taken it upon myself to put together some do's and don'ts, a little PSA, so you can have the best time possible at WrestleMania. So then if you have a bad interaction, a bad experience, you fuck things up, then it is totally on you for not listening to Drew McIntyre. Start with the do's. Be respectful to any wrestlers you see, and each other, but mostly us. It's our busiest work week of the year, and if you see us in a hurry, don't get in our way. We're probably trying to get to an appearance. We could actually see us at the appearance, or maybe we have an hour and we're trying to get to the gym, or something crazy like seeing our family and friends that we never ever see, especially from another country like myself. So wear deodorant. Please wear deodorant. Support local indie wrestling. I used to love doing the independent shows around WrestleMania, especially when I was Evolve champion, and I nicknamed WrestleMania Week Wrestling Week because there's so much going on and the atmosphere is incredible. Support independent wrestling. And that's a very short list for do's. Now the for love of God don'ts. Don't hang around the airport with a bunch of merchandise to sign. It's bullshit. It's taking the piss. It's taking advantage. It's WrestleMania. There's plenty of signings and photo ops you can go along to. We're just trying to get our stuff. Say hi to a few people. Say thank you for coming to Mania. And go to the hotel to begin the biggest week of the year. Speaking of the hotel, fuck off. Stay away from the hotel. That's a safe space. Imagine that's our house, because it is our house for the week. It's our home for the week. We have our family and friends there. Some of the superstars have kids. Respect personal space. Would you like someone coming into your house, shoving a camera in your face and your kid's face? Think of it that way. And don't interrupt people if they're in the middle of a conversation with their friends or family, or linger being weird. Again, there's plenty of chances to meet people during the week, and if you see a superstar in the wild, like on the street or the gym or a restaurant, maybe there'll be an opportunity to say what's up, take a quick photo. Don't ask for merch to be signed, and once again, Not the fucking hotel. Shoot names, real names, government names. Don't call people by their real names. That's a surefire sign we need to run the fuck away. I'm called Drew, so I'm pretty much screwed. This is more to do with the girls. It's very creepy. Don't do it. There we go. Don't do that stuff and you won't fuck up your experience. Everybody attending Mania, get together, talk about the thing we love and brought us together, professional wrestling and WrestleMania. It's going to be the biggest one yet, and I guarantee Drew McIntyre is going to steal the weekend. So thanks for listening. I hope everybody actually listened and didn't just hear me. Listen. Cheers.